Welcome to the biology lesson on AL short notes. Moving forward on chapter 2, today we are going to learn all what you need to know about carbohydrates. Let's learn about macromolecules. There are 4 major classes of biological macromolecules. They are carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. So on this video, we are going to focus about carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. This is the most abundant group of organic compound on Earth. Carbohydrates are composed of the elements C, H, and O. The general formula of carbohydrates is CX, open brackets, H2O, close brackets, Y, as you can see on the screen. There are 3 major groups of carbohydrates. They are monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. Monosaccharides and disaccharides can be called as sugars. Monosaccharides. This is the simplest form of carbohydrates. The general molecular formula of monosaccharides is within brackets CH2O close brackets N. The number of carbon atoms vary from 3 to 7. Monosaccharides occur in crystalline form. They all are reducing sugars. Monosaccharides are soluble in water. Based on the number of carbon atoms, monosaccharides can be named as the following. Monosaccharides that contain 3 carbon atoms are known as triose. An example for triose is glyceraldehyde. Monosaccharides that contain 4 carbon atoms are known as tetroses. An example for tetrose is erythrose. Monosaccharides that contain 5 carbon atoms are known as pentose. There are few examples for pentose: ribose, deoxyribose, and ribulose. Next, monosaccharides that contain 6 carbon atoms are known as hexose. We can give few examples for hexoses: glucose, fructose, and galactose. Finally, monosaccharides that contain 7 carbon atoms are known as heptose. An example for a heptose is pseudoheptulose. Based on the type of carbonyl group, monosaccharides can be classified as aldose and ketose. In aldoses, the carbon chain contains an aldehyde group. In ketoses, the carbon chain contains a ketone group. Now let's see some examples for aldose and ketose. There are 2 examples for aldoses. They are glucose and galactose. The example for ketose is fructose. Now let's consider about the next group of carbohydrates, which is disaccharides. Disaccharides are sugars. They are formed by joining 2 monosaccharides by a glycosidic bond. A glycosidic bond is formed through a condensation reaction by removing 1 water molecule from 2 adjacent monosaccharides. Among the disaccharides, maltose and lactose are reducing sugars. Fructose is a non-reducing sugar. Formation of disaccharides. When 2 glucose molecules undergo a condensation reaction, a maltose molecule will be formed and a water molecule will be released. When a glucose molecule and a fructose molecule undergoes a condensation reaction, a sucrose molecule will be formed and a water molecule will be released. When a glucose molecule and a galactose molecule undergoes the condensation reaction, a lactose molecule will be formed and a water molecule will be released. Now we are going to move on to the final group of carbohydrates, polysaccharides. Polysaccharides are macromolecules and biopolymers. They are not considered as sugars. Polysaccharides are water insoluble. They are non-crystalline. Based on the architecture, polysaccharides can be divided into two categories. They are linear form and branched form. Examples for the linear form are cellulose and amylose. Examples for the branched form are glycogen, amylopectin, and hemicellulose. Based on the function also, polysaccharides can be divided into two categories. They are storage polysaccharides and structural polysaccharides. What are storage polysaccharides? They act as storage components. Structural polysaccharides contribute to the structure of living organisms. Now let's consider some examples. Examples for storage polysaccharides are starch and glycogen. Examples for structural polysaccharides are cellulose, hemicellulose, and pectin. Now let's consider the functions of carbohydrates. Monosaccharides. They are a source of energy. They are the building blocks of disaccharides and polysaccharides. Also, monosaccharides are components of nucleotides. Disaccharides. They are storage sugar in milk, for example, lactose. They are storage sugar in sugarcane, for example, sucrose. Also, disaccharides are translocation in phloem, for example, sucrose. Moving on to the functions of polysaccharides, first let's consider about the storage polysaccharides. Storage of glucose as the source of energy in plants, for example, starch. Number 2, storage of glucose as the source of energy in animals and fungi, for example, glycogen. Number 3, storage of fructose as the source of energy in Dahlia tubers, for example, inulin. Now let's consider the functions about structural polysaccharides. They compose the cell walls in plants, for example, cellulose and hemicellulose. They are a component of the middle lamella of plant tissues, for example, pectin. They are a component of the cell walls of prokaryotes, for example, peptidoglycan. They are a component of the cell walls of fungi, for example, chitin. Finally, they are a component of the exoskeleton of arthropods, for example, chitin. So this is all what you need to know about carbohydrates for the AL exam. I haven't mentioned any molecular structures here because it is not necessary to memorize those for the exam. All what I have given here is only what is essential and what you need to know for the exam. Hope you learned something from this video. See you next time from another video. Bye bye.